Hi everybody, I hope you're keeping well. This is a special little lesson for guitarists, and it's about how I suggest you start to approach comping. Now, usually when you look this up online, the search for anything related to jazz guitar comping descends into a discussion of voicings, and you get all these lists of shapes, and indeed I've got books which are just lists and lists of shapes, and that's fine in its own way. But the most important thing for me is to understand how you make comping feel good and how you can be creative with it soon rather than once you've memorized hundreds of voicings. So I'm going to show you a little system today to start to find new things to do with your comping. And I'm not going to give you a sheet with this. I'm not going to give you a PDF sheet because I want you to visualize this on the neck as you go, because this is the most important thing. This is a fretboard visualization thing as much as it is a jazz technique thing. So I'm going to show you how to play, to begin with, 2-note voicings for comping, because really that's all you need. If the bassist is playing the root, as they nearly always do, all you need to do to outline a chord is play 2 other notes, usually the 3rd and the 7th, but you can do other things as well, and we'll get onto that. So first of all, I want you to imagine you're playing the classic bar chord shape like this. Okay? Now the root, this is an A major chord, the root is here. Now, if you were to play the major scale up from here, you would find the 7th here. So it's like an octave shape, 2 strings, 2 frets, -1 gives you the major 7. And if you then want to find the 3rd, you just run up 2 notes in the scale. So there you have the 7th and the 3rd. So if a bassist is playing the root note of that A major 7 chord, you can play those 2 notes. And that's enough to outline an A major 7 chord. Okay. Now you know where the major 7 is and the major 3rd is. You can use your knowledge of chords to find appropriate shapes for other chords. So a major 7 chord has a natural 3rd and a natural 7, but a dominant chord has a flat 7. So all you need to do to make this shape appropriate for A7 is to drop that 6th fret on the D string down 1 fret to the 5th, and then you get 5, 6 like that. So that's the interval of it's a flattened 5th, but you're playing the flat 7 and then the 3rd like that. Okay. It doesn't really matter which of these you have on top. In fact, I'm going to show you inversions of these in a moment. So far we have these 2 notes here at the 6th fret, which give you an outline, a skeleton of an A major chord, provided someone else is playing the root. And then these 2 notes, which give you the skeleton of an A7 chord. Now, a minor 7 chord has a flat 3rd and a flat 7. So we just take that 3rd and drop it by 1 fret. Now these 2 notes, when played over an A, outline an A minor 7 chord. So now we have pairs of notes that outline the 3, pretty much the 3 most common chords you're ever going to play in jazz. So you have A major 7. I'm going to play the root for now, but eventually I want you to get away from playing that. So we have these 2 notes make A major 7. These 2 notes make A dominant 7. And these 2 notes make A minor 7. Now you can take this a little bit further and you can find the 6th here, the natural 6. So you've got your major 7, flat 7, and your 6. Now sometimes you see a 6 chord in place of a major 7 chord. So for that you might play 6 and 3 like that. Sometimes you see minor 6. So you'd play 6 and flat 3 like that. So take a moment just to get familiar with those few shapes. So you have major 7, flat 7, 6, and you have major 3rd, flat 3rd. And combinations of those notes will give you 5 different chords. So I'm going to take the A section of the tune Autumn Leaves, and I'm going to play through it using just these shapes. So remember, we're thinking about this in relation to the root note on the 6th string, okay? So we're going to be jumping about quite a lot here. I would refer to these shapes for the purposes of this exercise as shape 1. So shape 1 is where I'm thinking about imagining the root being on the low E string. And these notes here are connected to that. Like that, okay? I'm going to take the A section of the tune Autumn Leaves, and I'm going to play through it just on the first beat of every bar, using the appropriate shape from the shape 1 group for every chord. Okay. Here we go, 2, 3. Do that one more time. So I'll do that again with the root notes underneath, just so you can see where that's coming from. Okay. Make sure you're comfortable with that. And then once you can do it all the way through just on the first beat of every bar, I want you to start to be creative. Play through and be creative with the rhythm, because comping is about making the music feel good for a soloist. And most of that, for me, is rhythm, more than the chord shapes that you would go for. Another little tip is that you can take any of these shapes and play them 1 fret away in either direction and arrive at that pair of notes, and it just adds a little bit of decoration. 1, 2, 3. So I referred to those as shape 1. Now, shape 2 is where you imagine the root note being on the A string. I'll do it with C major this time. So imagine you've got C here. Now your third will be, your major third, sorry, will be there. And the 7th will be here. So you have 3rd and 7th against the C major 7 chord here. So note that shape 2 is the opposite of shape 1, where shape 1 you're playing the 7th underneath and then the 3rd on top. This way round it's the other way, 3rd on the bottom, 7th on top. So in the same way as we did with shape 1, we're going to find those different 7ths and 3rds. So on the D string, that's your major 3rd and that's your flat 3rd. On the G string, that's your major 7, that's your flat 7, and that's your 6. So think about how you can combine these. So you have major 7 would be those two against that root. Dominant 7 would be those two. And minor 7 would be that. Minor 6 would be that. And major 6 would be that. Just run it round in your head. Think major 7, dominant 7, minor 7, minor 6, major 6. Just get that comfortable. And then I want you to do the same thing with the tune as you did with the shape 1 shapes. Go through and on every chord, play using the shape 2 shapes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Once you're comfortable with finding those shapes and being creative just using the shape 1s and just using the shape 2, next we're going to combine them. So let's think about that tune, Autumn Leaves. So first of all, you've got C minor 7, right? And then you've got F7. So we've been practicing going like this just for the purposes of an exercise, jumping around. But in reality, you don't want to do that. You want to keep everything as close as you can. It's called good voice leading, when things have as little movement in them as possible, but lead from one chord to the next. So you can use a shape 1 shape for C minor 7, like that, and then a shape 2 shape for F7, like that, and then a shape 1 shape for B flat major 7, and then a shape 2 shape for E flat major 7. And practice it by playing the roots as well, so you can really visualize it. Etc. I could give you this all written out, but I don't want this to be a memorization exercise. I want it to be an exploration exercise for you guys. So once you're comfortable with that, take the roots away and then play through the tune using shape 1 and shape 2 shapes. 1, 2, 3, 4. I want you to spend a while getting that together before you move on, because I think it's so important to have that foundation in just playing the key tones. But the next step is where you find other chord tones around these little pairs of notes to embellish things. So for example, just above the 7th you have the root. So on a, let's go back to that A major 7 chord. There you have the root and then the major 7 underneath. So that's a little embellishment. Similarly on a dominant 7th chord. On a minor 7 chord. And on a minor 6 as well. And you could even do a little chromatic run if you wanted, where it fits. You could even do the 9th sometimes, that's the note above the root. So on a dominant 7th chord, you could have that little run. Similarly in the shape 2 shapes, you've got the 5th up here, just above the 3rd. There's the 5th, there's the 3rd. You could do something like this on a C major 7. Or do a little scale run down. Okay, so that, combined with moving the shapes 1 fret, combined with using shape 1 and shape 2, will give you a whole world of stuff to be creative with, not to mention rhythm. I haven't even talked about that really. I'm going to demonstrate playing through the A section again of Autumn Leaves, using these shapes plus embellishments. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thanks for watching. Head over to the Facebook group if you have any questions or if you want to share how your practice is going. Myself and the other tutors will be on there and able to answer questions or anything you want. Good luck with it. See you soon. Bye bye.